The United States recently announced the imminent withdrawal of 5,000 troops from Germany, a decision that followed a series of highly publicized failures in negotiations with Iran. German leadership pointed to those specific failures, openly stating that the American diplomatic corps currently lacks a coherent negotiating strategy and competent personnel. The response from Washington was an active reduction. They are physically pulling 5,000 personnel out of the country right now. Pulling these forces signals the beginning of a breakdown in the German-American partnership, carrying significant consequences for how the United States manages its power globally. There is an assumption across parts of the American political spectrum that U.S. troops are stationed in Germany as a localized defense shield, kept there strictly to protect European allies from Russian aggression. This map shows the current borders of Eastern Europe. Germany has not bordered a hostile power since the early 2000s. Due to NATO's eastward expansion, Poland now acts as the massive physical buffer separating German territory from the Russian border. Operating the massive military infrastructure located in Germany requires a strict critical mass of personnel. It takes an absolute minimum baseline of 30,000 American troops just to keep the facilities functional. Those thousands of forces operate the non-negotiable logistical engine required for America to maintain its military reach across the entire globe. Projecting military power from North America into the Eastern Hemisphere is geographically immense. You cross thousands of miles of the Atlantic Ocean to reach operational zones. Ramstein Air Base acts as the central, indispensable bridge connecting the U.S. to those distant theaters. Ranking among the world's largest air bases, it serves as a massive transit hub, moving heavy equipment and ferrying troops to the front lines. Projecting power into Europe, the former Soviet Union, or the Middle East depends on these German facilities. Without them, operations in all three regions lose their primary land-based logistical support. In warfare, unpredictable failures are a certainty. Losing this specific logistical node immediately strips the United States of its ability to sustain an active conflict. The hardware is only half the equation. The human toll is managed through the Landstuhl Regional Medical Center. When a soldier sustains a severe combat injury, like an IED blast or shrapnel wound, human biology starts a very short clock. Survival is strictly dictated by immediate evacuation time. This map compares the reality of those evacuation routes. If a critically wounded soldier is forced to endure a cross-continental flight back to the American mainland, they likely will not survive the trip. A short medical flight to Germany completely changes the mortality rate. Because of that geography, Landstuhl served as the primary evacuation destination for the entirety of the War on Terror. That proximity saved an estimated 100,000 lives. Withdrawing from the German footprint directly increases battlefield mortality rates for American soldiers. If troop levels drop below that 30,000 threshold, the remaining footprint becomes non-functional, ending the current model of land-based power projection across the Eastern Hemisphere. The only viable strategic alternative to those land bases is to attempt a complete replacement using a massive floating naval presence worldwide. You would have to keep multiple aircraft carrier strike groups permanently stationed around the globe, cramming thousands of personnel and planes onto floating decks, simply to handle basic supply logistics. This chart visualizes the astronomical financial burden of that shift. Replacing stable land infrastructure with an all-naval logistics strategy balloons the annual U.S. defense budget well past $2 trillion. The U.S.-German security partnership functions as the financial, tactical, and medical lifeline that sustains